What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video on my channel. This is Test Your Knowledge. In this Test Your Knowledge video, we are reviewing lessons 5 through 8. I'm going to ask a series of 10 questions to see how much you have learned from these past few lessons. To make it easier for you, let's go over and review what we have learned in these past few lessons. Lesson 5, we talked about melodic and harmonic seconds and thirds. Lesson 6, we talked about melodic and harmonic fourths and fifths. Lesson 7, we discussed the B note for both the left hand and the right hand, as well as the two major chords, the C major and the G7. Lesson 8, we talked about the 3/4 time signature, the dotted half note, tied notes, slurs, and legato playing. So keep this all in mind as you answer the next 10 questions. So let's begin. Question 1. The image pictured on the right is an indication of what? A. Melodic third, B. Melodic second, C. Harmonic third, or D. Harmonic second. The correct answer is C. Harmonic third. As we have discussed in Lesson 5, when you see two notes that are written together, it indicates a harmonic interval. In this case, these two notes are line notes. So when you see two line notes together, it indicates a harmonic third. In this case, this is C and E. Question 2. The image on the right indicates what? A. G7th chord, B. C major chord, C. Melodic fifth, or D. Harmonic second. The correct answer is A. G7 chord. As we have talked about in Lesson 7, the two major chords we've talked about so far are the C major and the G7. When the notes are B, F, and G, this is a G7th chord, and we play this using our 5th finger, 2nd finger, and 1st finger. Question 3. When you see tied notes in a piece of music, what does that indicate? A. Hold the notes for the total amount of counts shown. B. Play each note separately by their own counts. C. Play only one of the notes and ignore the second note. Or D. Play the first note loud and the second one soft. The correct answer is A. Hold the notes for the total amount of counts shown. In Lesson 8, we talked about tied notes. And the definition of a tied note is two notes held together by a curved line at the bottom. And this means we do not play the notes separately, but instead hold the note for the total amount of counts. For example, if there are two half notes and there is a tied note that is held between these two notes, we don't play them separately. Instead, we hold it for the total amount of counts shown. So half note gets 2 beats. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So we hold it for a total of 4 counts. Question 4. This image on the right is an example of what? A. Melodic fifth, B. Harmonic fourth, C. Melodic fourth, D. Harmonic fifth. The correct answer is C. Melodic fourth. Lesson 6 talks about melodic and harmonic fourths and fifths. We have discussed that a melodic fourth goes from a line note to a space note or a space note to a line note. This picture shows that the notes are going from line to space. And since the gap is bigger, it is a fourth. And in this case, a melodic fourth since the notes are separated. Question 5. When you see a pair of notes in a piece of music and one is going from a space note to another space note, this may be an example of what? A. Melodic second, B. Harmonic third, C. Melodic third, or D. Harmonic second. The correct answer is C. Melodic third. Now in lesson 5, we talked about melodic and harmonic seconds and thirds. So the key word in this question is going from one space note to another space note. So the question did not say together. If it said together, then it would be harmonic. But the fact that the question is saying going from one note to another, we are assuming that it is a melodic interval. And we talked about a third is going from a space note to a space note or a line note to a line note. So in this case, the correct answer is C. Melodic third. Question 6. When you see a pair of notes in a piece of music and you see a line note and a space note both played together, this may be an example of what? A. Melodic second, B. Harmonic third, C. Harmonic fourth, or D. Melodic fifth. The correct answer is C. Harmonic fourth. Now, this kind of goes along with both lessons 5 and 6. So, let's review. The key word in this question is when you see both notes played together. Those are the key words, played together. When you see those words, your brain should automatically tell you that we are dealing with harmonic intervals. So that eliminates the answers to B or C. Well, we talked about thirds being space note to space note or line note to line note. So that can't be it because the question is telling us when you see a line note and a space note played together. So that leaves us with C. Harmonic fourth. And as we reviewed and talked about in lesson 6, a fourth is a space note and a line note, or a line note or a space note. They can either be melodic, played separately, or played harmonic, played together. Question 7. In this image, the curved line at the bottom of these notes indicates what? A. Tied notes, B. A slur, C. A chord, or D. Bass clef. The correct answer is B. A slur. So lesson 8. The difference between a slur and a tied note we talked about is that tied notes is two of the same notes held together by a curve, and we just hold the note for the total amount of counts shown. When you see a group of different notes with a curved line, it is called a slur. And as we talked about, it breaks these notes into what is known as musical phrases. And it also indicates that we are going to play these notes legato, which also means smoothly connected. Question 8. This image is an example of what? A. G7 chord, B. Harmonic fourth, C. Harmonic fifth, or D. C major chord. The correct answer is D, C major chord. As we talked about in lesson 7, the two major chords we've been focusing on so far are the C major and the G 7th chord. This is a C major chord because it's comprised of the notes C, E, and G. Just to reiterate, the difference between a chord and an interval. So don't get confused because an interval is just a measurement of two notes from one note to the next. And harmonic intervals are comprised of two notes. A chord is comprised of three notes. And in this case, it's C, E, and G. Question 9. The time signature on the right indicates how many beats are in each measure. A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4. The correct answer is C, 3. In lesson 8, we talked about the 3/4 time signature. So that means the top number, the 3, tells us how many beats are in each measure. And in this case, there's 3 beats in each measure. The bottom number, the 4, tells us what kind of note gets 1 beat. And in this case, that indicates the quarter note gets 1 beat. Finally, question 10. This note pictured here is an example of what? A quarter note, B whole note, C half note, or D dotted half note. The correct answer is D dotted half note. Lesson 8, we discussed the dotted half note and is illustrated as a circular shape with no filling and a stem that goes up and down and a dot on the right side of the note. This tells us that this note gets 3 beats. Now it's time to tally up your answers and see how well you did. If you got a lot of these questions wrong, I highly recommend revisiting my prior videos, lessons 5 through 8, to help you better understand these concepts, because there was a lot of material and there was a lot of technical stuff and a lot of new stuff. So before moving on to future lessons, I highly recommend revisiting those videos so that you can better understand them and so that the concepts going forward will become less difficult for you. Well, that wraps up this video, so please subscribe and like this video if you haven't already done so, and feel free to leave a comment below. But until then, I'll see you all next time.